Let's get some price picks in today. Last night I hit another 10x on college football, Washington versus Alabama here, but the pick from the video did not pan through. JJ McCarthy and Roman Wilson did end up going over, but Quinn and Jordan were the ones that went over, and that is what I actually called in the video. I said I wasn't going for Worthy, which didn't hit. His line was set at 76.5, only got 45, and then Mitchell, I believe he was set around 66.5, I want to say. He only got 32. So Jordan was the only one that actually went over, and I believe Sanders was another one that was set around 45. So these were the two correct picks to grab with Quinn. Other than that, the Roman Wilson and JJ McCarthy stack did hit, but it went in the wrong direction. I said I like the unders because JJ McCarthy was set too high, but unfortunately tonight it did not pan out. When it does work out, it looks like this, but it's still good to see that these guys still did hit in the same direction. We just got the direction wrong. Other than that, there was some other picks I gave out on last night's video. It was this entry right here. Rosie ended up not playing, which of course is going to affect Miles Bridges' line. I believe he got bumped all the way to 22.5, maybe even higher after Rosie was officially out. But what that does is essentially give Miles Bridges more minutes, more utilization, and of course he's more likely to go over. So this honestly was not a good pick with the change in the Charlotte lineup. Other than that, I went Jarrett Allen and Max Strus on this stack here. Did hit, so under points, under assists there. And then Jamal Murray was a stack with this Terry Rozier and Miles Bridges. So the idea was if it was a blowout, then both these guys would go under. It was somewhat of a blowout, but Miles Bridges still got 36 minutes. So of course he's going to clear that line. And Jamal Murray did get 27, but he was the main one getting the points. You could see Jokic only got 13 points. So unfortunate on that. So 2-2 there, and then 2-2 on the other slip for a 4-4 day. Not too bad, but obviously we didn't make money with those slips there. Overall, I played 9 slips and this 10x hit, so up 1 muted on price picks last night. On the board today, I have some NBA, and we're going to kick it off with Joel Embiid. He is back. I'm expecting him to play tonight. We're going to grab his over 34.5 points. I'm going to be stacking him with Tyrese Maxey on the over 6.5 assists. Let's take a look at why I'm liking this. So Joel Embiid is set at 35.5 on one sportsbook and then 34.5 on the rest. It seems to be a bit conflicted on where the juice should be. Caesars has slight juice towards the under, as well as FanDuel, but DraftKings has them juiced all the way at minus 135 towards the over. So general consensus does seem like 34.5 is definitely the spot for him. We're not sure whether it's juiced towards the over or under. The main reason I honestly like Embiid is because he just acts as a complement for a pick I prefer more, which is Tyrese Maxey on the over 6.5 assists. He has cleared this 52% of the times this season. Chicago defense is 24th in assists allowed, and there is juice towards his over on every single sportsbook, all the way up to minus 145 on Caesars, but general consensus, everyone has the juice towards the over. So honestly, I'm just kind of liking the Tyrese Maxey pick, and I'm throwing in Embiid because together they normally go over in the same direction. And before Embiid's injury, they have actually cleared their lines together. So let's say Tyrese Maxey at 6.5 assists and Embiid's at 34.5 points. They both went over these lines together in the same direction 68% of the times this season, so 17 out of 25 games that they have played together. One thing to note is that Tyrese Maxey splits at home are actually worse, so 6 out of 16 times he has cleared this. The only other thing that I might be concerned about is this high spread of minus 10.5. There is blowout potential in this game, of course. We could take a look at how these players are affected by less minutes, and for Embiid, it's funny, he actually plays better with less minutes. You can see average about 34.2, and if we slide this down to 34 minutes per game, he actually clears this 55% of the time. And the reason for that is honestly, Embiid is normally the one blowing these teams out. He does very well in the easier games, and you wouldn't be surprised to see him with 20 points by the half. Now, if we check Maxey too, he averages about 37.4 minutes. So if we put that right under at 37 minutes, he does average a hit rate of 67%. So I'm not too concerned by the minutes reductions on each of these players. So that's why I mean the mores on both of them, Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. 34.5 and 6.5 assists. Don't play any bumps. This is what I'm going for. Moving on, I'm going with another stack, but this time on the unders. We're going with Jalen Williams on the under 3.5 assists, and we're going to follow this up with Josh Giddey on the under 10.5 points. This is a nice little OKC stack I play. It has hit 18 out of 24 times, or 75%. We'll take a look at Jalen Williams to start. First of all, he does not clear this line very often. 39% of the times this season, he has gone over the 3.5. Meaning 61% of the time he actually goes under that 3.5. You can see juice on every single sports book towards the under. And on top of that, again, Boston is a very strong team, 3rd in assists allowed. They are also 3rd in points allowed, which is going to help Giddey stay under. The only thing is they are playing at home, and it is expected to be a bit of a tight game. But still at home, he is not clearing this that much more often. And same with Josh Giddey. He has cleared this 50% of the times this season. At home, it's slightly better at 53% of the time. But again, juice towards the under on every single sportsbook, all the way to minus 131 on Caesars. Last thing to note is the spread is at -4, so it could be a tight game. But like we did with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, let's see how these guys do it more minutes. So Jalen Williams averages 30.9 minutes. If we bump him up all the way to 31, let's see how he's doing here. Now this is at home, I believe, so 25% hit rate. Let's take him out of home. 24% hit rate with more minutes. So it's funny how that works. Not too concerned with that. Now we can check out Josh Giddey with more minutes. He averages 25.3, so we'll bump him up to 26-ish here. And when he's getting at least 26 minutes, he is averaging 29 per game. And he has hit this 57% of the time. It definitely looks a bit worse with more minutes, but as we saw before, he does clear this about 50 to 53% of the time at home. But we're still grabbing the under because it's a nice stack with Jalen Williams on his under. And there's nice juice towards his under on every single sportsbook. To end it off, we're going to go with 2 positive expected value plays. And the first one is going to be Jonathan Kuminga on the over 19.5 PRA. I'm really liking this one. We'll take a look at him on props.cash and StatsMuse here. So on the over 19.5 PRA, he has cleared this only 39% of the times this season. But don't worry, it's going to get better as we start going through the stats. First of all, he does have juice towards the over 19.5 on DraftKings and BetMGM. Caesars has him about that flat -117. But let's take a look at how he does without Draymond Green. So you can see 12 out of 31 in all this season. But if we throw out Draymond Green 8 out of 17 times, so it bumps up to 47% of the time. Then we could throw him at home, where he has cleared this 55% of the time at home without Draymond Green. That's not the main reasons I'm taking it. It's not really these splits. It's more of the minutes projections that I have for him. So as you can tell by these recent games, Kuminga has been clearing this line pretty easily. I mean, look at that, 29, 36, 28. He has been getting more minutes recently. So if you check his game logs, 25 minutes, 24, 23, 30, 27. Like, this is a lot of minutes. 34 minutes is a ton. Like, that's an easy clear at 19.5 PRA. The only game he didn't crush at least 21 minutes in the past 10 is this Portland game at 19 minutes. So we can actually take a look at how Kuminga is playing with these high minutes. Let's say his average is 21.8, but look at all these games where he played very little minutes, especially at the beginning of the season. So if we bump him up to that 21 mark, where he has cleared this in the past 9 and 10 games, it is looking very good for us. 79% hit rate on that over 19.5 PRA. 79% hit rate on that over PRA. You can see he only touched 17, 13, 16. And back then versus Sacramento, you could see the line was actually set at 16.5 PRA. So he cleared it here too. The only 2 games that he did not clear it at all when he got at least 21 minutes is this Minnesota game and this Miami game. And the reason I'm projecting these high minutes is because Kuminga has been playing very well in good form and the game is tight. Golden State is at home with a -3 spread. So you could expect a tighter game coming to the 4th quarter with a lot of minutes for the starters. On top of this, we did flag him on OddsJuice as a positive expected value play right here over 19.5 PRA. -122 or 55% likeness to hit. The last pick is actually also going to be from the OddsJuice dashboard. I'm really loving this one. Jaren Jackson Jr. under 7 rebounds. We have him projected at 50.5% likeness to go under 6.5. So basically, there's no reason for him to be set at 7 on Prizepicks. 6.5 is a fair line. Prizepicks is really giving us an advantage on this under 7 rebounds. And we'll take a look at why on props.cash here. So Jaren Jackson Jr. has only cleared the over 6.5 rebounds this season, 12 out of 32 times. See, there's juice towards his over 6.5. Very slight even on PointsBet and FanDuel, with DraftKings, Caesars, and BetMGM have heavy juice towards the over 6.5. We're not getting him at 6.5. We're getting him at 7. 8 out of 28 times he has gone over 7 rebounds. But we'll bump it down to 6 again. Check the home splits. And it does not get that much better. They are at home tonight, of course. 36% of the time he has cleared this. And I also want to check how he's been doing recently with Marcus Smart and Ja Morant. We'll check on Marcus Smart first. Cleared this 6 out of 15 times. We'll check him with Ja Morant and Marcus Smart only 1 out of 3 times. And then we'll check him with Ja Morant alone 2 out of 6 times. The splits are not looking good for Jaren Jackson at the 6.5 rebounds. And we're getting him at 7. I mean, what's more to love about this pick? The only thing of concern is this defense on the Spurs. 29th in rebounds allowed. I mean, there's only one worse team than them on the rebounds, but I'm not too concerned. Again, there is build potential in this game. -11 spread. Let's see how Jaren Jackson does with a bit less minutes on this rebounds prop. We'll take out Ja Morant. It'll bump it down to right below his average, so about 31 minutes per game, and see how he does there. So at 31 minutes, he has only hit this 21% of the times this season. So there's a lot of things to love about this pick, but as I was going to put it in, they actually did bump his line down to 6.5 rebounds. Now the juice tells you to take the over. I mean, every other sportsbook has him juice towards the over, but I just went over a whole analysis on why you should take the under on this. I'm not saying you should take it at 6.5. We are going to be replacing it, but it is interesting to see how these lines move. At 7, it was a no-brainer to take the under 7. I'm not too sure if it's still good at 6.5 rebounds. If you're convinced based on that whole analysis that I went through on props.cash and the spreads and everything, and maybe there's a blowout, you could still grab the under 6.5 rebounds. I probably wouldn't touch it just because these sportsbooks are juicing him. It's a bit concerning. I'm not exactly sure why. At 7, I think it's a no-brainer, but at 6.5, a bit questionable. So do as you wish, but I'm going to be going through another pick here instead of Jaren Jackson. So instead, from the same game, we're actually going to go with Sohan on the under 22.5 PRA. So rather than take a Memphis player, we're going to go with a Spurs player. The Spurs are playing away where Sohan has considerably worse splits. He has only gone over this 31% of the time. In general, he has only gone over this 41% of the time. And then there is juice towards the under on every sportsbook, except PointsBet, it seems split over there. And then FanDuel has him juiced towards the over, but at 21.5 PRA. So we're getting a point of protection on FanDuel. Then overall on OddsJuice, we do have him flagged here at under 22.5 PRA, minus 140, 58% likeness to hit. So I'm really loving this play. It's even better than the Triple J play. And we're going to go with Sohan on the under 22.5 PRA and lock this one in for tonight.